Hello, good people. Welcome back to the Kuhb Games YouTube channel. My name is Evan, and we play goats here. We are back with round 2 of GFC 22. We are playing against Chaos Turbo, and this one, from what I remember, is going to be a bloodbath. The good news is, we won the die roll. The bad news is, that's about all that goes right here. So we start out with monster heavy hand, not great. Gonna summon the Sasuke because I don't want to just lead on the Blade Knight. I don't know what my opponent's playing at this point. So play out the thing that's able to live the best, and we just set the Sakuretsu armor. Generally no reason to set Sakuretsu and Mirror Force at the same time, so that's fine. Opponent leads on upstart, sets some cards, perfectly fine. We get trap dust shooted, which, you know, feels bad. We actually get double trap dust shooted. So we lose all of our monsters, so hoping that this Sasuke can attack into something that's not too bad for us. Sangan can get Tsukuyomi, which it does here. That's fine. We do have the Sakuretsu armor. And at this point, I set the Mirror Force. Not totally sure about that play. Opponent could still have Heavy Storm in hand. They could have drawn Heavy Storm. But my reasoning was I don't want them to have like Breaker and to be able to break and then go into Tsukuyomi or something like that, or like MST, or some sort of a Raigeki break play here or something like this. This also helps play around like this, but the opponent is actually smart here. They summon the Tsukuyomi, set the Chaos Sorcerer because they do know about this Mirror Force and they don't want to run into it. So we have to deal with this Chaos Sorcerer. We do draw Reinforcement of the Army, which is really good. I decided to go with Exiled Force over level 2, because I know they have the Tsukuyomi in hand 1. I guess like I can protect from the Tsukuyomi with the back rows, but I don't want to play into a potential like Raigeki break, or a Mirror Force of their own, or a Ring of Destruction. I just want to get this Chaos Sorcerer off the board so I don't have to deal with it. So Exiled Force is going to take that out. And we're not looking awful here. We draw a BLS, but Exiled Force is the only monster in our graveyard. So we're a little off from that. I could premature burial the Exiled Force here and take out the face down, and I don't hate that. We've already seen Sangan. There is a chance that the opponent could have Serpent in hand because they got the Tsukuyomi, but Tsukuyomi is just good against the deck, so I don't necessarily have a reason other than that to think that they could have a Sinister Serpent down there. So just going to go ahead and take out the face down. It ends up being the Tsukuyomi, which is pretty nice. Our opponent draws Pot of Greed, and then they set a bunch of cards. So that's fine. We draw Blade Knight, so that's at least a light for the BLS. And we do have a chance where, like, if we can get aggressive somehow, like rip some monsters off the top of the deck in a row, there's a chance that we could end up killing with a Snatch Steal line here, or a BLS line, but we have to get there first, obviously. We draw Sakuretsu armor, elect not to set it, so if our opponent plays a heavy, if it's already face down, it's just going to be a 1-for-1 situation. If they play it from the hand, it's not going to be a plus for them. So now opponent draws in a Graceful Charity. Of course, they already have the Thunder Dragons in hand. They draw Sinister Serpent as well. Just to kind of pile on the Spies attack in. I'm going to Mirror Force. At this point, I just kind of want to keep the board clear and try to be able to get in and hurt my opponent. Again, we're playing for this like late game Snatch Steal BLS, just kind of sack you, win the game after the opponent is way up. So Kaiku's going to attack. Opponent's going to Mirror Force. I have Light Dark, so out comes the BLS. Again, we're so far behind. Just got to make some plays here to try to get this game. If my opponent follows up with a Chaos Monster, you know, cool, so be it. My opponent actually activates Raigeki Break here. Which is interesting. They could have done that on their standby and used the Sinister Serpent. So, don't know about that, but we are actually back to even on cards. Though I guess, yeah, we went first. So we're actually down a card, and down 2 with the Sinister Serpent. Opponent draws Heavy Storm for turn, so we lose both of our Sakuretsu armors. They follow up with a BLS. We have Snatch Steel, so not all is lost here. And they've used, what, 2 Raigeki breaks at this point? No, just the 1 Raigeki break. Okay. So now we actually have Snatch Steel, Ring of Destruction. So there is a chance that we could steal this game. So going to Snatch Steel the BLS, banish the monster, which happens to be a Magician of Faith, so that's huge. We set this Ring of Destruction. Opponent's going to go up to 9,000. They're going to ring the BLS. So now we don't have the BLS to sort of sack the opponent, and our Ring of Destruction is pretty bad. Sinister Serpent's going to come down, get in for 300. We draw a Trap Dust Shoot, which is not great. Sinister Serpent getting in for another 300. Holding off on this ring so that I can draw something to actually, interact with this instead of having to ring the Sinister Serpent and then it just come down the next turn with no answer. So now we draw Solemn Judgment, which is also dead. Opponent attacks with Sinister Serpent. I have to ring it at this point. And just hope I can draw something off the top that helps out. Opponent's going to pass the turn, and we're going to draw another dead Trap Dust Shoot. So now we are in territory of having to Solemn Judgment a potential Sinister Serpent. Of course, we do have the Dust Shoot here, which is going to take care of the Serpent. Our opponent's left with, they do still have a monster in hand. They summon the Tribe. I'm forced to Judgment here. Their last 2 cards in hand are Nobleman of Crossout and Raigeki Break, which are fine. I'm not too worried about these, but we do have to draw something relevant. Breaker is something relevant. Going to pop that back row, which is a Delinquent Duo that doesn't matter. And our opponent's going to Raigeki Break the Breaker. So we need to fade 1 draw step from the opponent. And we don't. They draw a Kaiku, and we lose the game. So that's going to be game 1. Opponent drew all of their Trinity with the Thunder Dragon. We didn't draw any, I believe. Yeah, we didn't draw any Trinity. We actually battled back just a little bit. We got the game to an even game state, even though the opponent did have Thunder Dragon Trinity. I remember my opponent playing very, very quickly and just kind of throwing out cards, killing what's in front of them. Stuff like that, something that you don't necessarily get to see from the replay because you don't see like live time plays. So I think we played the game plan that we needed to. We were down, we had to get aggressive, try to find a line to sort of cheese the opponent out. And that's what we did. We took some risky lines. We got back in it. We got it to a simplified game state where we both on like the same amount of cards. It's just we had 3, not great draws in a row with the double Dust Shoot and the Solemn Judgment, and the opponent was able to get us there. So that happens. Sometimes those games go like that. It really sucks to lose game 1 against Turbo because post board it gets a lot harder. But let's see if we can pick up game 2 here. All right, game 2. We did the same sideboarding plan that I was sort of talking about in the deck profile. I did a little bit of the conversion side. I brought in the Spies, brought in the Zaborg, brought in the Brain Control, as you'll see here, and stuff like that. So this hand is okay. I really like having Kaiku, obviously. DD Warrior Lady is sort of a catch-all. And we do have Graceful Charity. This is going to be like a very aggressive hand. We want to play this very proactively. We want to be able to just like kind of chunk our opponent a little bit. Maybe get in with these Kaikus and then maybe potentially finish them off with a Brain Control play. So here we have the option of do we just Heavy Storm so that we can try to get this Kaiku to go through. You don't really like Heavy Storming just 1 back row from Chaos Turbo, but sometimes, like I said, we want to play proactively here. I'm going to lead on the Graceful Charity because there's a chance I could draw into like MST or something. Nobleman is also a very good draw, so that means we can clear a Spy out of the way. I'm going to get rid of the Torrential Tribute and 1 Kaiku. I figure I don't need both of the Kaikus, and I really don't need the Torrential Tribute because I'm going to be the aggressor here. I'm going to be the one getting on the board first. So we would rather back up our plays with like a Sakuretsu armor or something. And the Tribe here I think is more important than the other Kaiku, just in case the opponent summons something problematic like a Zombra or something. We can clear that and we can keep pushing in damage without having to get rid of our DD Warrior Lady. So now I'm going to lead on Knock, which means I I'm just going to attack with the DD Warrior Lady here. So I did make the choice to not play the Heavy Storm. I think that may have been incorrect in hindsight. I think given the hand that I had, maybe I'm supposed to just Heavy Storm, get it over with, and then attack him with the Kaiku. We see now that the opponent does have a Raigeki break. I didn't know this at the time. So they would have been able to tag the DD Warrior Lady, but I still would have been able to get in a hit with a Kaiku, and it wouldn't have actually been like a -1 on the Heavy Storm, because they do have to discard. Now, granted, they can discard a Thunder Dragon, but I guess like what I was thinking is, you know, I'm actually a little bit ahead here, because the opponent has 2 Thunder Dragons in hand, and those are kind of useless. So may as well not put myself down on card advantage, which is also a decent line of thinking about it. And I think that's generally the default line. But I think given the hand, like the cards that we have, maybe we should have played that a little bit more aggressively. I don't know. It kind of ended up working out. So not that big of a deal. Now I draw Rhoda, which I believe I'm going to go ahead and get level 2. No, Exile Force makes a lot more sense than level 2. Don't need to play into Mirror Force or anything like that. We're just going to sack the Exile Force, get rid of a Night Assailant, which is nice. DD Warrior Lady coming in. Opponent's still being pretty disciplined with their Raigeki break. I'm just going to hold everything in hand. No reason to do anything else, I don't believe. Now I'm going to Heavy Storm. Because now I'm like, okay, let's get aggressive. Opponent's at 5,000. They do chain this Raigeki break, take out the DD Warrior Lady, but that's fine. We get rid of a Sakuretsu armor as well. Unfortunately, we're just going to run right into this Sangan with the Kaiku. However, Tsukuyomi's already gone. So now we just have to deal with Gravekeeper Spy, which we do have Tribe for. Unfortunately, that does kill our Kaiku in the process, but if we need to deal with the Spy, we can. So I'm going to Saku the Zambura here. Opponent's going to set a back row. So now we actually draw Spy. So our options here are Summon Tribe, try to attack in for 34. Let's see. Mirror Force is not gone. Torrential is also not gone, so I don't think that's necessarily a good play. And our backup sort of mid-ground play is to just set the Gravekeeper Spy after attacking with the Kaiku. I do think we want to attack with the Kaiku, because again, we just need to be as aggressive as possible. If they have another trap to deal with it, they have another trap to deal with it. I think that's sort of trivial. So we attack with the Kaiku. We do see the Mirror Force. A good thing we didn't summon the Tribe. Now we just set the Gravekeeper Spy. Opponent is going to set a card. We do know about the Spy, of course. So just going to pass the turn. We could have attacked in with the Tribe here. Maybe thinking that's Spy, but then we'd have to discard either the Brain Controller or the Chaos Sorcerer. And the Sork is actually online. So I don't want to discard the Sork, and Brain Control, like seeing the opponent at 5,000, maybe there's a Brain Control line on like a Chaos Monster or something that can take out the opponent here. So just thought, you know, let's make the opponent make the first move here. We have a Spy set. We are going to deal a good 800 points of damage here as they attack into it. And now we can just attack over the Spies if we want to. So I think that worked out. We hit Call of the Haunted, which is really nice for Kaiku here. So I think for a little bit, I'm like, all right, let's Brain Control the Spy. Because I don't need to summon Chaos Sorcerer here. Mirror Force is already gone. So I've got a clear attack. At least one of these Spies is going to get in, and then I can just crash this Spy. So they don't get it back. I really like this line. Puts the opponent at 1,800 if both of these Spies get through. Yeah, so we get our opponent at 1,800. We get to set the call. We have a Tribe and a Chaos Sorcerer that we can use on the next turn. The opponent does have another Raigeki break for the Call of the Haunted. Yeah, that's 2 Raigeki breaks. So now, actually feeling pretty good about this game. Opponent draws Upstart. Opponent draws Pot of Greed. And Graceful Charity. So, feeling really good, and then the opponent's just like, nah, we're done here. Don't worry about it. And they discard Night Assailant, so they get a Spy back. And they drew their Tribe. So, I mean, everything goes badly. The opponent did leave in their knock, too. But, you know, that's pretty much a worst-case scenario turn. And they set 2 back row on top of everything. So, I think sort of the play here is just going to be MST one of the back row. Hopefully it's the relevant one. Summon the Chaos Sorcerer. Summon the Tribe. Try to win the game. We hit a Book of Moon, which is okay. Not ideal. I'm just going to activate the Chaos Sorcerer and pass. I don't think I like that play. The only thing that would have hurt me there is like Torrential, really? I guess another Sakuretsu would have been annoying. I think I should have just gone for game there. Maybe I should have won this game. Yeah. Yeah, I think I should have gone for game there, because now they get Snatch Steal, and they get to hit in for 35. This is actually fine with the Tribe. And we actually draw Pot of Greed here. So now I can just summon Tribe. I believe I pitched the Zaborg. Yeah, pitched the Zaborg. So now in the next turn, if they just set a monster, I can level 2 over the monster and attack with Tribe. I get my opponent to 200 life points. And they do set a monster, and they set a back row. I summon level 2 and attack. Okay, so we get game 2. I think I should have gotten that game a turn earlier than that. Not really sure if that would have been correct, but looking back on it, I think maybe I should have just gone for the game line there and not played so conservatively. And I think earlier in the game, maybe I should have played a little bit more aggressively as well. So maybe didn't play that game as well as possible, but I don't think I made any like major mistakes there. So yeah, we do get a game 3, and we'll get into that. All right, here we go with game 3. Opponent's on the play. So going into this game, I actually felt pretty good. I know I said at the beginning of this it was kind of a slaughter, but we were able to battle back a little bit in game 1, and game 2 we were able to take, even though it wasn't a perfectly played game. So I'm thinking maybe we can outplay the opponent here and get this game 3. Opponent leads on Pot of Greed, so already they're like, no, you don't get to. And then they have a Graceful Charity, and they're like, no, you really don't get to. They discard double Knight Assailant to the Graceful Charity, so like, you really don't get to play this game. That's fine. At least, you know, I guess it came before they drew the Thunder Dragons, but now, like, the deck is completely thinned out. Our opponent has 8 billion cards in hand. They have a Zombra that can actually attack over our Spy and makes our level 2 a little useless here. They do have to discard, and we do have a Heavy Storm, but we draw a Nobleman that's not, like, super amazing in this spot. Facing down a Zombra, I'm just going to throw off the Heavy Storm. We actually get the +1, so I'm like, okay. Maybe we've got something here. So we're just going to set the Spy and the Judgment. Zombra is going to come in, take care of the Spy, but we are going to get another one from the deck. And the second one, Zombra cannot attack over, which is nice. But opponent's just going to set a couple of cards and pass here. Now, going to throw off the knock. No reason to run the level 2 in. I guess, like, there's a reasonable chance it could have been the Knight Assailant there. So maybe I want to risk the level 2. But we've got the board pretty walled up here, so I think a bit on this breaker. Check the graveyards and everything. Opponent does have a light, so I'm actually giving them a dark. I think this may just have been a clear misplay. My idea was I'm way behind, just like game 1. My idea was I'm way behind, so let's make an aggressive play here, but I think this just allows my opponent to get aggressive. I lose the Solemn Judgment either way. So like if they have a BLS, they can still summon the BLS. Well, they can't summon the BLS. But I'm still way behind. As long as Zombra is the one that attacks this, I just get rid of the Zombra with the DD Warrior Lady. They're still left with a breaker. So yeah, I don't know. There might not actually just be a good play here. We may just be so far behind that none of this matters. But yeah, I'm just going to Solemn Judgment the breaker. Go down to 4,000. My opponent summons another Zombra. Wait. Guess this makes up for the Vampire Lord round 1, doesn't it? Huh. My opponent certainly normal summoned 2 monsters that turn. I was not feeling good. I suppose. That's really bad on my part. So I don't know how much it would have mattered, honestly. Because we're so far behind as is. We lose the spy that turn, but it's not like the spy is going to attack or anything. I guess it would have kept us alive at 100 on this turn, but I guess we're still going to be alive at 100. So yeah, I'm just going to get the heavy storm back because I don't really have anything else to grab. Yeah, the double summon that turn was not, amazing for me, but I was a little frustrated by how these games had gone. That I was just kind of over it, I think, and I just wasn't, paying too much attention to the Zombra, which is not great. But I did say before that there were some definite mistakes that were made, and some poor play, and I think a lot of that came early in this tournament. Making some mistakes in the first match, definitely making some mistakes here, game 2, game 3, not noticing that my opponent had summoned twice, and just, some play that could have been a little bit tighter. I was a little bit frustrated in this match. The frustrations carried over a little bit in the next match. That's not something you can really let happen if you want to win tournament matches of Magic. You kind of just got to put the match behind you, but I was feeling a little bad, had a headache, so it's not an excuse for bad play, but we are learning. Going through these does help. Helps you, learn the mistakes that you made and sort of implant in your brain a way to not make those mistakes in the future. So glad we're going over this. I'm not sure any of my decisions in this game actually did matter, other than maybe my opponent shouldn't have summoned a Zombra twice, or summoned twice in one turn, but I don't think that had a really big impact on the rest of the game. Opponents had a great start. Sometimes you're just not beating those starts, and that's just how it is. But that was a sad round 2. We're 1-1. This is a long tournament. It's going to be 9 rounds of Swiss total, so we can push forward. We can get there. So we'll see you all for round 3.